Hi, everybody. I'm Johan Strom. I'm Senior Manager in the Finance and Performance Management practice of Keyrus Management France. And I'm also leading the coordination of the strategic partnership of Keyrus with Anaplan for France. Today, I have the pleasure to have a discussion with Laurent Benkiewicz, who is Global Director for Sales Applications with Coty, on a business planning project that we delivered together with Laurent as a client counterpart, and which was built on the Anaplan platform. So thanks a lot for joining us today. Hang on, I'm sure this will be interesting for everybody. And thank you, Laurent, for being with us today.
Thank you. Nice being with you today.
So Laurent, maybe to start off, could you give us some background information on some details on Coty, the company, and the overall context?
Coty is a global player in the beauty industry. We're having a vast portfolio of brands, both in fragrance and cosmetics. We are the result of multiple acquisitions and mergers, and therefore we're having a landscape of solutions that were seldom deployed at global scale. But the beauty in it is that we had the opportunity to test multiple solutions through local initiatives.
Okay, thanks for that, Laurent. Can you tell us a little bit about what triggered or what initiated the project within this context?
Coty has well-established solution for finance and for demand planning. But there was a complete absence of sales forecasting tool globally, and we were, in most cases, doing our forecast on Excel. The case of the UK is illustrative of the rest of the other business units. There were over 100 Excel files to compile every month in order to have a read on the forecast. It was extremely time-consuming, and we were lucky when it was not crashing. So that was completely unproductive, and for sure we could do better than the existing solution.
Yeah, it becomes clear that there are room for improvement there in terms of reporting platform, Laurent. So why don't you tell us a little bit then about the solution, its scope and basically what it does.
More than a sales forecasting tool, this is a business planning tool, meaning that not only do we build at very granular level the sales per customer monthly or in some cases weekly, we also forecast the trade spending, and therefore we can build P&L per customers and can monitor the underspend, overspend. We can build scenarios of recovery plans, elect one of those scenarios, and implement where it best makes sense to invest.
How would you, Laurent? How would you summarize beyond what you just said? But how would you summarize the benefits of the solution for the company?
There are multiple benefits. Really multiple benefits. The fact that it's cloud-based actually delivers a real-time read, which is nothing in comparison with what we had before. So we can track and follow the evolution of the forecast across the different forecasters. That's the first benefit, extremely flexible and of course scalable. The second benefit is the fact that it's fast to implement. If you remember, Johan, we delivered this solution in 4 months. Also, it worked with or without integration. We started without integration and we completed integration since then. We delivered multiple automations and improvements to the solution, and as a result of that, we actually deliver. We can deliver the forecast in 5 times faster than it was before.
Right. So you can see there were clear technical advantages there as well. But we all know that nothing, a solution is only as perfect as the amount of users and the perception of the users using it and the perception of the users, basically. How is this all perceived internally? And could you give us some hints on that?
Well, before that, say that it's truly an asset to have a solution that can adapt to a constantly changing organization. So it's extremely flexible. And indeed, the case of UK showed us through its learning that we had a solution that fitted our needs, and it was elected as the global solution to deploy for sales forecasting. To me, it's a true sign of success when the other markets, and not the small ones, the biggest affiliates, reach out to be the next to deploy. And as well, we had other functions besides sales that reached out as well to plan to be part of the extension of the tool.
Yeah, that's true. That opens up perspectives as well beyond what you just implemented. Now that we know a little bit more on what you've done, what has been implemented, could you tell us something about the project approach that we adopted, and maybe in particular why you chose to go for a pilot deployment?
Yes, why a pilot? Why a pilot deployment? First of all, in order to avoid having to align the entire organization for months before we kick off something tangible. So there were 3 parties involved in that pilot. First of all, Anaplan. Anaplan pre-sales team was extremely professional, extremely dedicated. It did very well with our needs, and their proof of concept was extremely convincing. The second party was the local team. We engaged different affiliates, and they were open to host the pilot. The UK team, despite other priorities, business priorities, mobilized their key functions to get involved in that project, and that was extremely welcome because they did had a strong need. They had to facilitate to ease the workload of their teams. And the third party, we searched for your company, Johan, your support to actually help us through carrying the project, delivering the project.
Yeah, that was one important step for us as well. By the way, why did you choose to work that way? Why did you choose to mobilize a consulting team with you, and why did you pick Keyrus Management for that?
Keyrus as a company had a good reputation, so did other companies as well. We pitched several, but we finally better got along with your team, and you brought also the experience that we needed exactly for that project. And we involved you all across the project life cycle. So from scoping and building the requirements to design, development, UAT, training, hypercare, and even handover. So you were involved pretty much on everything. So Johan, let me reverse a bit the flow of this discussion and ask you a question. How was it to work for a company like Coty on a project where all the requirements, or most of the requirements, were changing?
Yeah, well, that's a challenge, but it's always almost happening like that, more or less. I mean, the idea to have something which is totally linear is not true. So it's true that it was changing with Coty, but I think that frequently. But I think that the agility and the adaptability of our methodologies that we deployed with Keyrus Management for this kind of project helped absorbing that, combined with also the versatility of our consultants. I mean, most of our staff is trained to manage all steps of these projects end to end, and that helps them also adapt to these changes. And last but not least, I think that the flexibility of the Anaplan platform also managed to sort of adapt to these changes, and I think in the end provide all things coming together, successful delivery of the project.
And by the way, Johan, why didn't you, as a methodology, try to push for a core model rather than going into the approach that we engaged into?
Yeah, it's true. We had that discussion and thought through these different scenarios in the beginning. I think we wanted to provide you quickly with value on this project, and especially for the end users, we wanted to provide something fast, tangible results. And so, we picked the option of trying to implement something based on local business requirements, quickly working closely with the field in a restricted, as we mentioned, on a restricted perimeter. And we kind of took it the other way around. Then analyzing the result, we enabled to identify and isolate different aspects that we saw had a transversal capacity that we could then apply to other scopes. And I think doing it that way around avoided us the risk of a tunnel vision, and in the end, coming out with something theoretical which might not be aligned to the real business needs. And I mean, it's an option, really. But I think in hindsight, I think that option proved to be a good one, given the Coty context. So, coming back to the way that we delivered this project in the end together, Laurent, in fact. Were there anything that you particularly would say you appreciated with the way we drove this together?
Yes, besides the technical know-how, which is a must-have, I would say, I particularly appreciated how close to the end user you were in your approach, facilitates the user adoption. And also there was a strong forward thinking in such way that we were always ready for the next step or preparing for the next step, so we could keep the project on track with the timing. So that was really appreciated, and I think that's a big strength of the team that you have been managing, together with a strong workload or strong commitment to the project all along its different phases. Johan, what would be the key success factor you would consider for such projects?
Good question. I would say, if I mention like 3 of them that comes into my mind, I would say the utmost importance of creating kind of a partnership between the client, so you, the customer of the solution, obviously the service provider, consulting service provider, so us, and also with the software vendor, and kind of striking the right balance in that kind of troika that we managed to put together. I mean, we knew this was important before this project also, obviously, but these really reinforced our conviction that is something which is really key. And also, I would say I mean, it's really critical, I think, also to mobilize early on and significantly the end users, being close to the field. I even say, ideally, I would even co-build these kind of solutions with some of the end users. So finding those key users on which you can build really the customer, the end user experience on. But I mean, it's obviously not always possible to do so. So what you do is generally, and that is also really important, is you identify your key users, you identify your functional admins, and you really have them on all throughout the project. That is really critical from my point of view, and it proved to be on this project too. And last but not least, having a dedicated, committed, and knowledgeable product owner was really instrumental to the success of this project, and we had the chance to have that on this project. So thanks for that, Laurent. Maybe to conclude, Laurent, and this being said in a strange and a bit cloudy context, right? What would be the perspectives that you see for the business planning solution within Coty? It's kind of the next steps. Could you share a bit of your thoughts around that with us?
Well, bottom up, there is a strong need from the market that reach out to deploy. We also had the opportunity to work and assess the possibility to extend the tool scope with other functions to go in the field of SNOP, trade fund management, the marketing budget planning, which are really great possible expansion. But in all the transparency, under current times, we have a cautious deployment due to crisis time. So we cautiously monitor our budget, and it's for the time being only the markets that already deployed that will be using the solution until we restart after this period.
So despite the troublesome period that we know almost too much about, some interesting perspectives indeed still. Sure, there will be great potential. Any kind of last words takeaway that you would like to share with our audience on all of this, Laurent?
My takeaway is that a small and tangible business case is better to actually deploy globally, and Anaplan can fit both strategies. I mean, a small tool up to a global deployment. So that would be my learning for this experience we had together.
Great, Laurent. Thanks a lot for your testimonial and for sharing the details of this exciting projects. We'll stay tuned then for the next steps.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you for your attention.
And thank you all in the audience for sharing this moment with us. I hope it was as pleasant for you as for us, and we wish you a great day.